Welcome back, Truth Seeker. Tuesday, August 27th, 2019. On this day, we get our first top headline of a tropical storm potential hurricane that can impact Puerto Rico and Florida, both U.S. territories. And today is the 2-year anniversary of the flooding of Texas, where much of Houston was devastated. And if you weren't following me 2 years ago, before Houston was flooded on that date, I told people to look out for that date because it's the most perfect day of the year, and I mean the entire year, for a flood. So here's what it is. August 27th is the 239th day of the year. That's the 52nd prime number. And both hurricane and flood sum to 52. August 27th, 17, 2 years ago, was also a date with 52 numerology. 8 plus 27 plus 17 is 52. And if you are new here, I have a book on weather warfare by the numbers, how every single year, like clockwork, locations are devastated, and it's always this same number, 52. And not by coincidence, it was 1952, the year that the first time a world military admitted to weather warfare and the capability of flooding specific targets by manipulating the skies above that location. That was the Royal Air Force. They admitted that an experiment of theirs went too far and resulted in the deaths of 30-some people in a small rural town in the UK. 1952. So think about how long ago that was. Anyhow, again, August 27th is the 239th day of the year, which is the 52nd prime. Hurricanes 52, so is flood, so is Earth, so is Harvey. It was Harvey that flooded Houston by the numbers. Pointed out the year that happened, Matt Harvey, the MLB player, was the first player to pitch in Houston, and he pitched in Houston 52 days before the start of the World Series. I put out a video saying, there's your World Series champions, the Houston Astros, and why they'd beat the Los Angeles Dodgers. Vice Sports wrote an article. Do a web search, Zachary K. Hubbard, Vice Sports. You'll find the article. They made fun of me, even though I was dead on the money. Now, keep in mind, in the Bible, in the Torah, you get the story of the flood of the earth. The Torah is known as the Book of the Law, which equals 239, the 52nd prime number. If you go through my blog and search 239 and 52, you'll find a bunch of stories like this. Just even with this one last year. This is August 2018. Hawaii dodged a bullet. It could have been worse, they said. You see how they emphasize dodged a bullet? They're saying the flooding could have been worse. Dodged a bullet, 239. You see how they do it? Year after year, story after story, the same repetitive patterns. Hurricane Maria, what devastated Puerto Rico, 239. And now, on the 239th day of the year, a storm that is supposed to impact Puerto Rico again. They say this storm formed August 23rd, which was a date with 25 numerology, the reflection of 52, and flood and earth are also 25. August 23rd is the day leaving 130 days left in the year. Puerto Rico's 130. The news, the headline today, August 27th, the 239th day of the year, storm's treacherous opening act. Today, the 74th day of the year, the date was 74 numerology, where the storm's intensifying. The fact that it's a date with 74 numerology where we're getting this headline is important because the qualifying wind speed for a hurricane is 74 miles per hour. And in Hebrew, the word hurricane sums to 74. See that? 74. And, also at this time, the news media is talking about Trump's bizarre idea to nuke a hurricane to disrupt it. Nuclear energy weapon, they're all 74. In recent years, we've gotten countless headlines of nuclear storms, hurricanes, targeted storms. They said Maria was a targeted storm. They referred to it as a nuclear storm. Here's an article right here that's, like most stuff in the mainstream, gives you a little bit of truth but misses the majority. Here's what would happen if you nuked a hurricane. And they write down here, the concept of nuking a hurricane isn't new. During the late 1950s, one scientist floated the idea of using nuclear explosives to modify hurricane paths and intensities. That's such a dishonest statement. The U.S. government detonated countless, hundreds, if not thousands, of nukes and atomic weapons and bombs. Some of you say there's no such thing as nuclear weapons. I don't want to argue about that. There's obviously very powerful weapons in this world. Look at what happened to the World Trade Centers on the 74th meridian. They were turned to dust. If that wasn't a nuke or an atomic bomb, I don't care. They have powerful weapons. That's what matters. And the point is that for decades, they detonated these bombs in the air for the purpose of weather warfare and intensifying storms and experimenting. I'm sure they figured out something, especially with all the recent headlines in recent years of nuclear storms. So realize, when you get information from the mainstream media, you are purposefully being programmed to believe the wrong things. You know, the media doesn't teach you to think or critically think. It just teaches you to believe and trust in the opinion of the authority, which is overwhelmingly false. You want to believe the authority, you believe a man in a cave turned buildings to dust in the middle of Manhattan. And then they referred to it as Ground Zero afterwards, where Ground Zero, the only definition for Ground Zero prior to September 11, 2001, was the point above or below ground where a nuclear or atomic bomb explodes. Again, World Trade Center is on the 74th meridian. 74 date numerology. Conversation of nukes and hurricanes. Hurricane equals 74 in Hebrew. The qualifying wind speed. You know, first headline of the year about a hurricane for the United States on a date with 74 numerology. Year after year, the exact same patterns. You know, it really does get old showing this year after year and realizing that, you know, almost no one in the truth community that has an audience shares this knowledge. You know, the fact that I've written a book that proves it through and through, just how repetitive it is over the decades. You know, if you read the book and you read the chapter on weather warfare, it's a 52 fest. I was even talking about this last night. So, anyway, for a few more notes, they're saying it's going to hit Sunday. The storm's name is Dorian. They're saying it should hit Florida. Dorian's 38 like Florida. Go figure. And they expect it to hit Sunday, September 1st, 2019. That'll be a date with 22 numerology, storms 22. Also be a date that can be written 1/9 like 19. Chaos is 19. The Masonic agenda is order out of chaos. You know, again, they create these storms. They intensify these storms. They target these storms. They create extra damage, which results in extra loans from the government, from the privatized banks that make profit off it. And if you missed last night's video, what I was showing with the book cover Eye to Eye has George W. Bush on the cover and a hurricane, and in the middle of the hurricane is the Star of David. Go watch the video I put out last night and what I was saying about that. If you have a Comedy Central and you can watch the roast of Bruce Willis on demand, watch that. And watch all the Jewish people up on the stage laugh when they make a joke about controlling the weather. If you were any more Jewish, you'd control the weather. You know, go check that out. By the way, Jewish 74. Cult 74. Masonic 74. So, anyhow, we'll leave it there, Truth Seeker. Keep you updated as things transpire. What I've also noticed over the years doing this is it does seem, based on the calls that I've gotten to my shows, a lot of people who are in these locations, they seem to think that what's reported on the television about these storms is often more devastating than it actually is. So, again, the media loves fear. Fear brings huge sales. All these private companies, you know, people will go raid the Home Depot, all the grocery stores. So all these storms and all the fear and panic brings a whole lot of profit. Probably a whole lot of waste as well. You know, probably a lot of rotting food in the garbage can after you can't eat it all after you bought out the store. So this is the New World Order operating system. Not a good one. Until next time, Truth Seeker.